Helen was a wealthy woman. She spent all her time running her beauty salon, while her daughter Aileen was taking care of her younger brother, cooking and cleaning the apartment in her spare from school time. Helen often told her daughter that school was not the most important thing in a girl's life. The most important thing was to find a husband, and then everything would be fine. Helen had been married twice. She gave birth to Aileen in her first marriage and a son in her second one. Both marriages ended in divorce, but Helen was able to sue herself a significant amount of money, using which she opened several beauty salons later. But Aileen, on the contrary, wished to achieve everything on her own and not to depend on the will of men. Secretly from her mother, she made custom translations to order, and already in high school she managed to save some money. When she went to college, she began working with a large company, doing translations of their documents and getting a good salary for it. Having received a law degree and being fluent in several foreign languages, she rented an office and registered her own law company with the ability to represent interests abroad. Things were not perfect right away, but Aileen continued to work hard and earned an impeccable reputation, so her business went uphill finally. And now she had everything: a dream house, a fancy car, money, but the only thing that was missing was personal happiness. Unfortunately, she had repeatedly made sure that her admirers were hanging around her just because of her business and money. One day, Aileen decided to go to the theatre for a new play. During intermission, she bought coffee in the buffet and, approaching the table, she stumbled and spilled it on the man sitting nearby. He looked at Aileen, completely unperturbed and without a trace of anger, and began to wipe his shirt with a napkin, while Aileen scattered in endless apologies. When he had finished with his shirt, he held out his hand to her. "My name's Paul. And what's your name?" Aileen was confused and held out her hand in response as well. "Aileen, forgive my clumsiness, for God's sake. I don't know how it happened." "Nice to meet you, Aileen. It's nothing, never mind. It will be an excuse not to go to the second part of the performance. I am disappointed in this play. I didn't think these actors could play so boring. Usually their performances are so exciting, but tonight I almost fell asleep." "Yeah? You noticed that too?" "I think the plot was not really well thought out, hence not engaging. I probably won't finish watching it either. I'm not in the mood." "Why? Because of me?" "No need," interrupted Paul. "No, not because of you. I just do not really like the show either." "And if so, let me accompany you." The man offered and looked into Aileen's eyes again. From his gaze, she felt something appealing about him. A crazy thought flashed through her mind. What if he is her destiny? But how to find out? And how to verify? Immediately, Aileen came up with a plan to pretend to be a person she wasn't. She nodded in agreement, and Paul helped her put on her coat. Coming out to the parking lot, the man pointed at an old car. Aileen threw a sad look at her new Jeep, which stood nearby, and settled on the front seat of Paul's car, trying to fasten her seatbelt, which did not obey her at all. "Yes, the car is old, but unfortunately, I can't afford a better one yet. I'll do the repairs in the summer. It's cold in the garage now," as if apologetically explained the man and helped her with the belt. Aileen gave her address, but explained that she had to stop and change at her friend's place because she had taken clothes from her for the theatre. The man nodded understandingly. "And what do you do for a living, Aileen?" "I'm an interpreter," the girl replied. "And I'm an engineer at the factory." Paul supported the conversation. Driving up to the house, the man was surprised. "Wow, what a huge and beautiful house your friend has." "She just married well, thanks to her influential father. Sometimes she gives me things, hoping that someone will pay attention to me, but I'm tired of explaining to her that it's not the clothes that make me happy. It's important to be respected as a human being and to be treated as a soulmate, not as a bag of money. I love your argument. I entirely agree with your opinion. I'm still single because women are trying to get acquainted with men richer, and most of them are not interested in ordinary, hard-working people. What if I wait for you and take you home? Suggested Paul. No, it's not necessary. My friend will not let me go quickly. She will ask me everything and share her news. I might even spend the night at her place. Oh, I see. Well, why don't we meet tomorrow night? Let's meet. Aileen happily accepted the idea. The next day, she rented a modest apartment, bought some simple clothes, and came to meet Paul, an entirely different person. How beautiful you are, Aileen. This outfit suits you much better. You don't need all that pretentiousness. The man handed her a rose and offered to take her for a walk. In the evening it got colder outside, and noticing that Aileen was chilly, Paul suggested that they sit in a cafe nearby. Let's warm up over a cup of hot tea and cake. They talked for a long time, and Aileen liked the man more and more. He was good-looking, smart, and it seemed to her that he was someone she could safely walk hand in hand with all her life, and not be afraid to trust, and that he was definitely not a fortune hunter or an Alphonse. Meetings became frequent, and gradually Aileen could no longer imagine her life without Paul. Sometimes she would go to his home. It was a small apartment with simple furniture, but the place was always orderly and even comfortable. In general, Paul was an independent man, though not a wealthy, but a decent and with a pure romantic soul. One day, Aileen invited Paul to her apartment. He came with a fancy bouquet and a bottle of expensive wine. Did you get a bonus? Wondered Aileen. Close enough. Paul smiled enigmatically. I want this dinner to be special. Oh, but it will be special. This is the first time I've ever cooked a duck, and I have no idea what it will taste like. It will be wonderful, he reassured her. When the duck was ready, Aileen took the prepared salad and cheese platters out of the fridge and set the table. Paul poured wine into glasses and handed one to Aileen. Aileen, even though we haven't known each other that long, I realized that life without you is becoming more and more difficult. I feel the need to be near you every minute. And forgive me my impertinence, but I want to ask you to be my wife. He took a box out of his pocket, opened it, and placed it on the table in front of Aileen. If you agree, accept this modest gift. The ring was simple but very nice. Aileen took it out of the box and put it on her finger, then silently looked into Paul's eyes and nodded. He took her hand, kissed it, and whispered, "Thank you." Aileen felt uncomfortable. She did not know when and how to admit to her beloved who she really was. She was afraid of his reaction, but she knew that she should do it before they got married. Noticing the sadness in her eyes, Paul took her hand and asked, "Are you worried that I won't be able to provide for you and our future children with everything you need?" "Oh no! I fell in love with you for your soul. You're the most worthy man, and money has nothing to do with it, really." Paul smiled and whispered, "Thank you. I knew I wasn't wrong about you." Aileen paused, hesitant to admit her deception. "Are you worried? I understand, but I have another surprise for you." "Get ready," said Paul suddenly. Aileen looked at him in surprise. Once outside, he asked her not to ask anything. There was a brand new car parked in front of the entrance, and approaching it, Paul opened the front door and helped Aileen to get in. He got behind the wheel, and 20 minutes later, they were already driving into the open gates of a mansion in a prestigious area. Aylin did not know which of a million assumptions would be correct. Thoughts clamped together, and when they got inside the house, Paul told her everything. "I'm sorry it came out this way, but I had to make sure you really wanted me. It took me a long time to meet a woman who didn't think about wealth, and I decided to pretend to be poor to meet the one and only you, Aylin. I'm the owner of the very factory where I supposedly worked as an engineer." "Oh, Paul, what fools we are! I'm the owner of a law company." She blushed. Paul laughed, holding her tightly to him. "Tell me, dear, how is it possible not to believe in destiny with the intricacy of our lives?" So Aylin and Paul, who had given up hope of finding personal happiness, found each other.